guys, this is still a thing. The knee is not healed. That's a long story. I went over like the first 6 weeks or so in my last video. I'm really hoping that there's not a whole video's worth of follow-up stuff, but to be determined. Today's Thanksgiving, and I think the last 2 or 3 Thanksgivings I've thought about filming what I do for Thanksgiving, and then I think that's really stupid. It's like my situation is like a niche thing, like how many people are cooking with like a 2-burner stove from Walmart. But then I was thinking, like, actually I did this exact same thing when I lived in the van, because the van also has 2 burners, although they're gas, and I had basically the same amount of pots and pans and everything. And so I was like, actually, this could be relevant. People also in like dorm rooms, I don't know. Who am I to tell you whether my video is relevant or not? I guess I'm just gonna throw it on the internet and you all can tell me whether it's relevant or not. And if it's not relevant, then maybe it's entertaining. I'm getting ready to cook Thanksgiving dinner, and I use the word cook loosely because there is nothing but cans and boxes and packets of things. I like to make Thanksgiving myself instead of like going out somewhere, because I like it to taste the way that it always tastes. And even though it's not like homemade or whatever, like homemade mashed potatoes still tastes good. I like it. And I also really like how many leftovers I get. So yeah, I thought I'd bring you along and you can see how I make like a full Thanksgiving's worth of food with like essentially 2 pots, a couple of bowls, and almost all shelf-stable ingredients. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I only have a mini fridge. I don't even have a full-size fridge, which means leftovers is a problem. I want leftovers, but I can't really store leftovers. So the first thing that I do is that I only make half of things. So I have 2 cans of green beans, but I only have one of them here. The other one is put away. I have the can of cream of mushroom soup, but I'm only going to use half of it. And basically I'm gonna make half of a green bean casserole on the stove. I have a small thing of potatoes, and the stovetop is kind of the thing that like I personally don't wanna make half of, because in my experience, things settle at the bottom. So I will make a full thing of stovetop, and that's like the thing that I will refrigerate as a leftover. Everything else should be pretty small and easily manageable. The other thing that's really important when you're doing things this way, because I don't have an oven to keep things warm or anything, is timing. So you have to pay attention. Like this is supposed to sit for 1 minute. So like this is like last. Why are all there flies all of a sudden? I swear there were not flies here 10 minutes ago. For the most part, everything has to go on at the exact same time. So yeah, that's kind of the lowdown. I use an electric kettle for this because it's easier. If you don't have an electric kettle, it's really not a big deal. Boil a bunch of water on the stove. It just, of course, kind of plays into how many burners you have available and things going at the same time and whatnot. Like when I lived in the van, I didn't obviously have the electric kettle, and I just boiled the water for everything. It wasn't that big of a deal. I'm gonna do things easy because it is my Thanksgiving and I do want to enjoy it. There's no reason to make it needlessly hard. I think I'm ready to go. So I know I'm gonna need quite a bit of water, and so I'm gonna boil this whole thing, which will take a little bit of time, so I'm gonna get that going now. And my kettle has this setting where it will hold the temperature, so I don't have to worry about it like heating up and then cooling down before I can use it. So I'm gonna utilize that function, and then I'm gonna get started on a green bean casserole. And I have to plan what bowls and stuff I'm using and where everything's going. Gravy is something that you really need to do on a stovetop, in my opinion. It doesn't do very well in a bowl. So gravy is going in that pot. The stovetop, last year I believe I made it in the pot and then dumped it into a bowl. I think think this year, use this pot to put the butter in and do it all together and then pour it all, and then I will have less that I need to clean up because like I can have butter water in this and I don't have to wash the pan again or the pot again. So that's convenient. So the other thing about this that is challenging is this is my counter space. So you have to be really organized. Potatoes will be in that. Stovetop will be in that. Cranberries don't go anywhere. Like, I guess we'll see what it looks like. My dad did send me home with a nice can of green beans from his garden. They said they were really good, which means I don't really I want to taste it. I don't want to cover up with mushroom. So alrighty, that's half a can of mushroom soup. And the other half can go in the fridge. What do we need? 1.5 cups of water. 1.5 cups of water and 4 tablespoons of margarine. That's a lot. That's a half a stick of butter. Alrighty, there's 1.5 cups of water. Oh, I forgot to say the elephant in the room, that's a spoiler for one of the big projects that have been put on hold because of the knee. Yeah, so I don't think you're gonna be able to see this, but the stovetop, like I said, it totally separates. It's all the seasoning was on the bottom of the bag. So if I just poured out half of this bag and tried to make half at a time, it would have been no seasoning. I'm gonna put the other half of this butter away in the dish so I can get it out of my limited cooking space. So one of the things you guys might be like wondering about is why boiled water only to boil it again on the stove. And the reason for that is these burners are $15 from Walmart and they take forever to boil water. So yeah, getting it boiled on the electric kettle, like giving it a head start, is definitely the move. Butter is melted in there, which it almost is. Dump it in the bowl. When I do dump it in the bowl, I need to trap the heat in so it does its job. I don't have a lid for this bowl, so I just use a plate and put it over top. Just like that. Give it a quick stir. I'm just gonna leave the spoon in there. And that's good to go. I'm gonna turn the heat on for the green bean casserole. Now, the recipes I always saw for green bean casseroles always said to add milk, but because we're not actually baking this, if you add milk, it's gonna be too runny. You can add a splash if it's too thick, but you're not baking it, so there's not gonna be the evaporation or anything. So literally all I'm doing, and this is gonna be a low heat, is just mix the two together. Okay, and that's basically a casserole. Put our onions over top. And yeah, I like a lot of onions on top. That pot does have a lid. So I'm gonna put the lid on and let that heat up. And then I need a cup of cold water. And then our gravy packet. I always do gravy wrong in terms of like patience level. Like, I don't know. I kind of just throw it together. I don't whisk it as much as it's supposed to be. So that's good to go. And then I'm going to potatoes, and that's 2 cups of boiling water, which, to be honest, I don't know if I even have 2 cups of the water in here. Yeah, it's 1 3/4. And to be honest, I'm gonna run my tap. Rinse off the spoon I was using and mix and let my tap water get hot. So the other name of the game, especially if you're in a small space like a van, is dishes. So you see, I'm like reusing the same utensil, just rinsing it off in between. So use another plate. I think it's time to crack the bottle of wine. Never had this before. Who knows if it's any good. That's the shitty thing about being on the crutch, is that you only have one hand to carry things with. Okay, calm down. I do this every time I make gravy. Cool, okay. Okay, I don't need a hot pot or anything on these counters because they're garbage. But I need this burner because I'm going to do this pan to reheat my turkey. So for a turkey, I go to the deli and I literally say, can you cut me a 1-inch slab off of your turkey? This is not cheap. This is a $17 hunk of turkey. However, because it's lunch meat, it is so moist and it reheats so well that I think it's worth the splurge. I'm cutting off a hunk of this and I'm gonna reheat it on the stove. And that's gonna be my turkey. Because this is a really thick slab of meat, I'm actually going to put something over top of it to help trap the heat. I'm actually gonna add some water to this too to help steam it, because the steam will also help cook it faster. Because all this is done, all of this food is ready to go, so I don't want to be waiting for like 5 years for this big slab of meat to cook. So we're gonna try and get it heated up as fast as possible without burning it and drying it out. While I do that, I'm gonna open my cranberries. And I like to have black olives and, well, my dad would pickle asparagus as a kid, so we'd have pickled asparagus with it too. But nothing compares to his pickled asparagus. So I don't usually do pickled asparagus from the store. So I am just gonna put some dill pickles on the plate too and have that. And then I need to get rolls going. And to do rolls, I believe I'm gonna do a toaster. I tried to do it on the pan last year and I burned it. So I think I'm actually just gonna toaster them. And that's gonna be it for the can opener. Oh man, my knee's starting to ache. This is a lot of being up for me. I'm just gonna put some olives on a plate to pick from. The rest will go in the fridge. Just probably 2 pickles. And put this on the table. And then, like I said, I'm gonna use a toaster. When I lived in the van, I just toasted things either directly on the burner, like for tortillas, or in a pan. I think we're almost ready to go, guys. Let's test. This is gonna be really hot. That's why I'm wearing long sleeves. And inside's not hot yet. I literally just stuck my finger in there. Because it's deli meat, it's literally already cooked. It's just heating it through for it to be nice to eat. Wipe the steam off. So you need to fluff the mashed potatoes. You can add butter to it if you want, but I'm going to just brown mine in gravy, so it doesn't really matter. I actually could have saved myself this spoon if I had just used the fork instead, because you need to fluff the stove top with the fork. Preferably don't make a mess while you're doing it. It's a little wetter than I think it normally is, but I'm gonna start dishing up. I turned the burners off and everything already. Actually, no, I do need that spoon. I'm gonna wash it real quick though. I need it for the cranberries. And I lied. I said I was gonna use that plate to dish up on, but that plate's like really hot. So I'm gonna use the plate I was using for the stovetop. Let's stitch up. If you don't have soup ladles is to use measuring cups. Excuse my messy desk, but that's Thanksgiving dinner. And I'm at my desk so that I can FaceTime my family. I'm just waiting for them to call. While I'm waiting for my mom to call, I'll just do a little bit of a review. I tried the mashed potatoes. They're great, of course, as is the gravy. Stovetop is a little bit wet. I don't know what's going on. I made it to the box. I always make it to the box. Green bean casserole, I forgot. I usually mix it all together and then heat it up and then put the Crispies on top because the Crispies got steamed. They're a little chewy. They're not crispy anymore. It's still good, but it's not crispy. So remember that. The rolls, I would love an oven heated roll instead of it being, you know, crispy toasted. The thing I'm sure you guys are all curious about is the turkey, and that's phenomenal. I think everybody wishes they could make a turkey this good. I don't know what to tell you.
Hello.
Hello.
It's about time.
Sorry.
Can you see us?
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.